Welcome back to BawseCrew. Woo,
Hello,
woo, woo.
hello, hello.
Oh, hello, 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 hello.
Yes. So today topic is complimentary of Taiwo, zero trust security.
No trust, no trust nowhere. Trust
Zero
nobody.
trust.
Don't
Nobody.
trust anything.
Nobody. As you said,
And
inside or out.
it's in the
It's
name.
yes, in the name. Exactly. It's in the
Zero
name.
trust.
You know, like people
Uh,
probably thinking zero trust. Don't trust no one. Don't trust nobody. Don't trust
Nobody.
anything inside or out. So how do we get in? They don't trust me. If I show them my ID badge and I say I am who I am, or I go through the biometrics and it scans my eye, or I give my fingerprint and it says who I am, how do I get inside? That's the question.
yeah, that is. That is
That
the
is the
million-dollar
question.
question tonight.
Yep.
$1 million question. So let's answer it. What is
Sure.
zero trust? Let's start there.
So, zero trust is a framework that requires that the organization or company uh, doesn't provide a level of trust to no one. The user, um, the passwords, the authentication, um, whether you're inside or outside of the organization, the networks. Um, you're constantly it sets up parameters of continuously validating security configurations and postures before granting any kind of access to a user to get inside. So zero trust pretty much it assumes that there is no traditional network edges. Networks can't be local in the cloud or any combinations of hybrid resources. Anywhere, anywhere that workers may have a location, or whether it's at home, whether it's just some off-site location, there is no trust that that sorry, there's no trust to say that we trust who you are and what you have that we can allow you to get in. So it's a continuous it's a
Verification process.
continuous but yes, thank you, Christian, verification process. I think a good example I came across as I was going into a deeper dive with this is that they said something to the fact of if you can imagine being at an airport and you have to show your ID, your boarding pass to go through security, right? And no matter who you are, where you're going, there's zero trust. We just don't trust who you say you are. I can't let you on this plane. And to, to put it in, I guess, in a sort of a framework or our easy way of sort of framing it is there is no trust. We got to keep changing the system on who and how we let you inside.
So in other words, you're saying like no one is trusted automatically, and everyone needs to prove who they are.
Yes.
You know, and I believe that is especially today. This is the most important factor, key factor in your security system. There is no way that in today's world you can trust someone automatically just because they say they are whoever they say they are. Because nowadays the thing is when it comes to system networks, don't ever think that you are secure enough so nobody can get in. You have to expect that someone will go through those barriers. So now, the best way for you to really say that um, I am going to secure the database, I am going to secure the information of the company is by implementing a system where even if you can get through the door, you're in the house, but what you need is actually the master's bedroom.
Mhm.
And that bedroom, even if you can get in the house, but that bedroom cannot be as easy for you. So, and that's where zero trust comes in. It's about even if you were already inside, you came once, you proved that you are where you say you are, you had access to the master's bedroom, you were in there, you decided to leave at some time, and then came back, then well, you need to prove who you are again. It doesn't matter if you were there like a second ago. You need to prove that you are still the same person. And if
Mm-hmm.
you are the same person, there shouldn't be any problem for you to prove that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's the crazy part about it. And I was actually just I mentioned this earlier because when I think of zero trust, I was thinking, oh, that's why companies are doing two-factor authentication. But two-factor authentication is not part of the zero trust. Multi-factor authentication is because two-factor is just two things, whereas multi-factor is two or more. And with zero
Hmm.
trust, you have multiple things that you have to prove yourself, whether it's okay, like you guys gave the example, if you're getting into a bedroom, if you're trying to get into the house, if you're trying to get into a vault. We talked about the bank last week. You need not just the key, but you need a PIN code. You might need a retina scanner.
Yep.
And a lot of big name companies have this where just to get in, you need a key lock, just to get into the lobby.
Yeah.
Okay. You're in the lobby, but now there's levels. If you're going to the low level, okay, your key card's enough. If you're going to the next level, okay, now you need a key card and a PIN code. If you're
Hmm.
going to the medium level or the higher than that level, you need your key card, the PIN code, and maybe a retina scanner. By
Yeah.
the time you get to the core where the actual secret lies, you will have passed through multiple factors of authentication
Education.
because it needs to make sure you are who you say you are. Because everything can be spoofed these days.
Hmm.
Cards can
Oh,
be
literally.
spoofed. PIN
Yeah.
codes, people pick so many easy PIN codes. One, two, three, four. That is like easy to hack. I found out one of my accounts is the password is password. My sister looked at me like, Bendy, your
Yeah.
password, girl, you need to change this. So I'm like, I don't know why I did it. This was like so long ago. Bendy, you need to, and that's the problem
Hmm.
because people think like that's a secure password. No one's gonna know. That is the least secure password,
Secret password.
right next to password 1 2 3 4. Like,
Hmm.
you know? So it's these little things that people don't realize that you have to be careful. Just like now laptops are coming out with more than just one factor where okay, you're logging in, you have the PIN code and then it's asking if you want to do um
Fingerprint.
a
Fingerprint.
fingerprint.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then they also have the app now to do the authenticator app, put in that code from your phone in order
Yes.
to get in. So there are so many levels to this, and it's only
Yep.
going to increase because hackers be hacking. that
Listen,
that's what it comes down to.
I was telling Taiwo earlier, um, how you have to see one there's a different angle to this, is that people usually, or people rather say that the system failed them, correct? Like whatever happened, they're like, oh yeah, I don't know what happened, it's the computer. I don't know what happened, it's the system. But yet You know one thing that the system never does on its own? We don't know what's going to happen with AI since system will be able to think for themselves. But so far, till now, the system can never lose its integrity. Someone has to breach it. You have to, there is no way the system itself is going to say, hey, hackers, hey, people that has nothing to do with this information, I don't like my owner right now. I don't like my sysadmin right
Come
now.
hack me.
Listen, here, come here. This is the back door. This is where you should go. Or
Yeah.
this is these are the information.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't happen like that. And
Right.
the most vulnerable um, factor or the biggest vulnerability in the system is the subject, the person managing that system. Because before you see before people try to get into a system by hacking it, they try to hack the person that runs it. Because it's easier for me to get information out of you as a human being because I have too many things, so many things that I can play on. I can act like your bank account. I can act like your people are able to um use voiceovers and
Right.
I can act like I'm your boss or anything. Give you a phone call and ask you for some information. There's so different things that we can do through social engineering that will make me get your credentials and get into the system. So security engineers, network engineers out there have to think of a way where we have to make sure that the system is secured. You can
Mhm.
get the password out of someone, but like you were just saying, Bindi, depends on where you want to go, what kind of information you want to access. We will ask you to go through more authentication
Mhm.
process. So we have to verify who you are. We have to verify that the device that you're using to access those information is legit, that it is
Mhm.
a device that has the rights to get into the system. You know,
Mhm.
you want to access the database, no problem. Or you're using your corporate laptop or your personal laptop, or you're using a laptop that you just bought at a store and then trying to connect to
Mhm.
on the system with it. Where did you get that from? Oh, do we know it? No, we don't know it. Block,
Mhm.
you know? And also, another thing that is very important in zero trust is list privilege.
Hmm.
Make sure that you want to
Yes.
go
Mhm.
through these levels, you want to go higher in those levels and find out those secret information, but do you have the right
Right. Yeah.
to access those information?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I kind of came across something too. It talked about Microsoft Zero Trust adoption and how I mean I think we've experienced that actually going through our program and how Microsoft has incorporated the zero trust in a lot of their security strategies and enforcing strict identity protocols. So I think it was what was it? I think when we was usually getting on the Azure, right?
Yep.
We we logged in and then we actually had to download the authenticator on that on our phones, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Because
yes.
it would send us something to authenticate who we were to be able to get into our Azure accounts. And this was
Mhm.
like forever. We had to do this like all the time. I think even at
And we
one
had
point,
to turn on Azure
right,
too
there you
before we
go.
could
There
even
you
Yeah.
go.
access the.
Access it. Right,
Yep.
right. So uh just that again, like you said, Christian, and I agree with you. Um, the system is not the one that's compromised. It's the individual, it's the user, right? Is the most compromised factor when you, especially when you think about zero trust and constantly having to prove, authenticate who you are before I can let you into the system. and it's become a wide known usage throughout cybersecurity. I've also I came across something else that I didn't notice, but the past is this administration that is leaving office. That was one of the factors he signed into gets into law when it comes to security. He instituted that the zero trust, the NIS 800-207, which speaks to the zero trust. He signed that into a major factor when you talk about authentication. Not I'm saying not authentication, but accessibility. So when you have the president sign something like that, saying that this is important to do, that more companies need to has to institute this into their system and how users are getting in or who they're letting in, and making sure the necessary measures are put in place to secure this all kind of data or anything that's going to be used, that we're going to follow this 800-207 code that's been instituted, and this is going to be across the board.
Mhm.
Across the board, that just speaks to how serious zero trust is. And again, as we saw with CrowdStrike, right? Um, although that was an internal belly flop, but still, the trust, right? We trust that everything was going to be right, but it wasn't. It wasn't right. It caused a major headache, not just here, but as well as international as well. With that blooper that they had. So yeah, zero trust, definitely always authenticate, authorize based on available data points, including user's identity, local device, health, and more. Constantly checking, constantly checking who you
Mhm.
are, where are you,
Yeah.
who gave you access.
Mhm.
Um, um, I need to see a picture of who you are. Let's give an eye print, a fingerprint. You might have to prick your finger, drop a little blood on here too. I mean, that'll be
Blood
the next day,
samples.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, give
Put
it
your
time.
finger
Give
on
it
there,
time if it's not
you get
already
pricked,
happening. Yeah.
right? So you get
Yeah.
pricked and it samples your blood. Does that blood match? Yeah, okay. Now you're good to
Yeah.
go.
Analyze your
Mhm.
DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly,
Yeah. And
exactly.
and I think this is explained in like a corporate setting how companies would kind of do the zero trust. For an everyday setting for a user, for people like us, the way we could do this is as simple as, if we have security questions, let's not say what's your favorite color. Let's make it a little bit more difficult, because your favorite color is kind of an easy get.
Yes.
When you're talking on social media with friends, if you're on dating websites, if you're going on
Yeah.
dates, that's one of the questions you ask each other. What's your favorite color? That's a
Hello,
normal question nowadays. Do you have any pets? Normal question that's asked these
questions.
days.
Yeah,
The name of
You
your
know?
pets. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
very, very, very normal things. You have to kind of up it a little bit beyond that. And I think now companies are even starting, like websites will have you put in a question instead of saying, here's 10 questions, pick one of these.
oh
It's
yeah.
you put in the question and put in the answer.
I think we'll start seeing people use more like lyrics to songs or your favorite
Mhm.
song, television show, um, famous line
Mhm.
from a movie or a show,
Yep.
things like that to kind of start up in the ante.
Mhm.
Yeah, because
I
I think
actually, at that point, I actually was watching a security video for work, and it was, how do you create strong passwords? And it's simple as, okay, do you have any pets? Yes, you have a cat. That's not the password though. That's not all of it. Put
right.
Mhm.
big cat. Okay, that's still not part of it. Big brown cat.
Mhm.
Big angry brown cat. You keep adding to it, and then you throw some numbers in there,
Some
some
symbols.
characters in there. That's the strong password. That is the strong password, not just cat, not just password, not just 1 2 3 4.
or
You add
your
date of
date of
birth.
birth.
Yep, yep.
Neighbors.
Or your kid's date of birth, your
Yeah.
wife's, your husband's, your significant others, your mom's. Date of births are no longer sacred. They're not a sacred thing anymore. It is very much out there, especially with all these breaches that we've seen going on
Oh
in the
yeah.
news, all these companies. The information is out there. It is out there.
Oh,
If you're applying for a job, it's out there. Let alone.
listen. I remember in one of our videos, I don't remember when, but there are there are websites, public websites though,
Mhm,
and they've been out there. It's nothing new. I'm talking about they've been out probably for about a decade now,
Right.
where all you have to do is go on Google. They will give you those websites where you go and you type someone's name and it will show you everyone with that name.
Yeah.
All
mhm,
you
Yes.
need is enough information about the person that you want to look up so you can sort them out of that list. If you have the date
mhm,
of birth, if you have the city where they live, the state where they live, that narrows down your search where you
mhm,
can literally find that person. And those
mhm,
websites they have a paid version and a free version. And on the free version, you're literally able to find information as their high school, college, or cars that they owned,
mhm,
um, um, relatives, and much more. So there are even websites out there where you can find someone information by just putting in the phone number.
mhm,
So there is they're free. They are free. All you have to do is a quick search on Google.
mhm,
So believe me, your information now adding to that what you just said, hey, everyone are getting hacked right now. So just think about it. Imagine for a second that if no one can protect your information out there, then you need to protect your assets. You need to protect your accounts. You need to protect your email, your social media accounts,
mhm,
everything that you have that is accessible online. You need to protect that.
mhm,
And what I also tell people is that I used to do that, and now I've been trying to find all of them, and even trying to look into finding apps or websites that will help me do that. Is that find all the accounts that you have out there, accounts that you opened and never used. Find them, close them out,
Yeah.
delete them, emails, social medias, anything. Find them and close them out. Because if you're like certain people don't need to worry about it. Because I have a cousin of mine, and that's it's a true story. He never uses his real name.
mhm,
Never. He never uses his real name, his date of birth. He never uses real information to create his email or anything.
mhm,
Literally. This man the other day he was talking to me and I was helping him do something. And then I said, all right, send me your email. And then when he sent it to me, and I was like, how do you want people to take you serious with that email, my guy?
mhm,
It looks like it's a 16 years old
Mm.
email.
mhm,
You know, he said, no, no, I've been using that for a long time. I said, I know, but I thought for that purpose, you'll probably have an email with your first and last name,
Right.
you know?
mhm,
And
mhm.
he didn't, and we had to make him one. So
Mm.
people like that,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you're completely safe, but It's good. It's it's the zero trust. It's part of the zero trust. If you're thinking it at a personal level and at a corporate level, I don't trust. He doesn't trust anyone out there with his real information, so he never uses real information to create anything.
Mhm.
But if you have something out there, you have accounts, and you are using your real information, make sure that they are safe. Make sure your
Mhm.
passwords are strong enough, long enough, and have enough characters that will
Mhm.
set it apart, you know? And earlier when we mentioned list privilege, when you hear that, think about to a personal level, this is how you can think about it. If Joseph asked me for my credentials, why would I give it to him? He has his own account.
Well,
Mhm.
Let Joseph handle his business using his credentials.
Mhm.
Okay, we're cool enough for me to, you know, log in into my computer while John is standing next to me. I know you're cool with John, but that doesn't mean that you can just let him stand next to you to log in. Because at the end,
Mhm.
you don't know what John do when he goes home. Maybe he has a podcast like BawseCrew and he's studying cybersecurity, and then he decided to test you. He decided to do some
Yeah.
practice and using your stuff. And that's a lack of ethics. But at the end, you don't know who is who.
Trust
so
no one.
no,
So
exactly.
trust no one,
No one.
Mhm.
literally, and
Uh,
only give
Mhm.
access to what they should have access to.
Mhm.
Correct. And I think, I mean, you two said a lot. And as y'all both was talking, I was thinking, I said, man, I said we can probably do another video, a show on how persistent, how patient hackers are.
Mhm.
Oh,
Because when you was talking about passwords, all I was thinking, I said, oh, I wonder how people realize how patient and how persistent hackers are. And I don't, and this is why this probably will kind of sum up why zero trust has become such a big entity in the industry is that hackers are very, very patient. They are very persistent. They will run a program to scan, as you said, for that password. So they
Mhm.
will start with something like password 123, and the scan will continue to go, people. It will scan password uh 456. It will scan password 789. It will keep going until it hits the right beginning matrix. So maybe it's password A. Then it says, oh, password A. Password A 123. Password A 456. It will keep doing that. And a hacker is very patient. They know this
Mhm.
takes time. They have all the time in the world. There's no rush
Mhm.
hmm
because at the end of the day, they're seeking out that payload.
Mhm.
There's a payload. And I often tell a lot of my family members this that it's not about how much money you have. They know that you're not the money payload. They're
Mhm.
coming after you because you have connections. Your network is more valuable than your X amount of dollars you have in your bank account. So you're not a big payload. They want all the contacts in your network, and then they're going to go after all the contacts in those networks. That's the payload. So when we think of the zero trust, and like you said, Christian, the least, using least
Privilege.
privilege, um, thing. This is like a framework that's being used across the board. It was written into. I have to find that because I wanted to have that correct language of what he had. If it was a law or I think it might have been something that he was instituting for companies to start instituting the zero trust framework um, across the board and just making sure that there's no trust. trust no
Mhm.
one who's trying to come into your framework, your data, your system, and use the least bit of privilege to get access. And for people, just when you think about sharing your password to a family member, do you need to share that password? Do they need to have access to your password? Or
Even if
you
it's
give,
Netflix.
even if it's Netflix, right? Or
Even
just think about how often a parent or a relative says, "Here, take my debit card and go to the bank." Do they need to have access to your bank account? Do you want to share that? Because they might just write it down on a little piece of paper there,
Mhm.
stick it on their laptop,
Mhm.
you know, as you may have with the rest of the passwords that's written there on your laptop.
Hmm.
You know,
At
some
that point, it's as
people,
good as I don't know if you guys seen Friends, but there's an episode of, was it Friends? I think Joey loses his credit card and he couldn't remember his PIN, and it's written on the ATM downstairs. There was
Oh
I think it was,
yes. Oh yes.
yes.
It was friends.
It's as good as doing that when you start sharing
Hmm.
your credit card, your passwords. Now anybody could have that. I know
access to
kids when, my mom owns a business. Kids come in with their food stamp cards from their parents. Parents will send them down, go get some milk. Here's the food stamp card. Here's the four-digit code.
then.
Yeah.
Now, food stamp cards don't only have food stamp money on there,
Nope.
it also has cash on there
Hmm.
nowadays because
Yep.
it's the same card.
Hard.
Hard.
Yep.
And some
Yep.
people are getting a very
Yeah.
generous lump
Generous.
sum.
Mhm. No, that's true.
Okay?
It's true.
So it's when you have passwords, when you're sharing your passwords, even if it's with kids, especially kids. Some kids are too trusting. Too trusting. There was this one that kid that used to come in. He couldn't remember it, so he couldn't figure out how to press it or he told my mom the password to put it in. Now,
Yeah.
God forbid somebody was in there listening to the conversation.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
all it takes. And if you're
Yeah.
using the same PIN for multiple cards, you get your credit
Yeah.
cards, you get your debit cards, you've got all these different things. If it's all the same, how safe is your information? So this is the high end of it of how companies are doing it and the regular end of it of how we should do it as everyday consumers of technology. It is an easy change, and the easiest way described best by Taiwo was trust no one,
No one.
No one.
inside or outside, because you don't know. You don't know. You don't know when someone's head could spin and be like, okay, you know what? It becomes like, when we were all in elementary school, middle school, people writing your phone numbers on the bathroom walls.
Mm.
Stuff like that happens. Someone gets mad enough, they're putting your phone number on a public bathroom. Now you're getting 101 calls from someone named Bubba that you've never even met. How did you get this number? It was written on the bathroom wall. That's it. That's
And
it.
then you said that like as if there was a bubble that called you and you didn't know where it was from or where it was. I
I'm
don't know. I'm
pleading
just
the
asking.
fifth. I'm pleading the fifth on this one. Pleading the fifth. I know my rights. No. But that it's true though. It is
It's
very
true.
true. It
Yeah.
is very easy, and we've described this is just a low level of how people with all these websites out there, your phone number is out there.
It
All of
is.
Yes.
these debt collection agencies aren't just calling you because they found it in a bathroom. No, they found it on a website. They found it on a website somewhere. That's the scary part of it. The best way to protect yourself is to ask questions. don't give out information. I think Christian, I don't know if it was one of the episodes we did, you said your girlfriend had gotten into a position like that where somebody had
Yeah.
called her and she asked questions and she got suspicious at the
Yep.
right moment before it got out of hand. That is the things that need to be done because if you don't, you are vulnerable. You are going to become prey, as bad as it sounds, to some hacker out there trying to steal your
And
information.
correct.
And I have a little friend here. She
Hey.
wants to be part of the show today.
Yeah, that's
Pass,
correct.
Oof.
password, little friend, bird,
Green.
at, green, 1, 2, 3, 4.
That is and that's the other thing. At least 16 characters for a
Yes.
password. That is the safest right now as of March. 16 characters we were
16
told
characters.
is a
Yes.
safe number to have of for a password
For passwords.
for
I think it might be
passwords.
going up too.
Yeah, it might go up to
So it
32, which is
might
just
go
going to
up.
be
Yeah,
crazy,
Yeah.
exactly.
but
Mm.
but nonetheless. So, that's all I got, guys. Do you guys have anything to add tonight?
That's all
Um,
I had to.
uh,
Yeah.
Um,
trust no
yeah,
Okay,
one.
all
cool.
just no one.
Trust no
And
one.
if you do, oh, one more thing actually. Um, it's about encryption. So
Mhm.
encryption is also part of it
Zero
as
trust.
if part of
Mhm.
zero trust, where this is the last level where if someone is able to get the data, well then you probably went through every single barrier that was set up
Mhm.
and finally got that data, got that file. But listen, it's scrambled. And if you don't have the rights, then you can decrypt it.
Mhm.
So encryption. I know
Encryption. Yep.
for us like just regular users out there, you're probably not thinking about encryption. You're probably thinking about how can I encrypt? Well, probably your laptop. You know, um,
Mhm.
I'd say especially if you use your laptop, your computer for company purposes, or do you have some work? Let's say you have a business, and you go everywhere with your laptop. Um, you have enough information on that laptop, on that computer, where if you lose it, you're at risk.
Mhm.
So encrypt it. At least if you lose it, maybe you won't be able to do an incredible job, but I'm probably sure if someone steal it, 8 times out of 10, that person doesn't have the skills enough to decrypt it.
Mhm.
So it won't hurt. There are companies out there um who do have options where you can literally um put a software on a key, on a USB
Mhm.
key, and put it in a laptop, and then they'll have a guide for you, or they will have something for you where they will take you through the process, one, two,
Mhm.
three, on how to do that. Right? So
Mhm.
do these.
Mhm.
If you have a company, then if you are building a company and you're at the point where you have people information, credit card information, first of all, look into the PCI guidelines,
Mhm.
and then make sure that you're using um, a third party if you're using any cloud storage, or if you decide yourself to, you know, plug in a computer of your own and running the data in your basement for, well, for storage, then make sure that you encrypt your data.
It's very important. These little tidbits, no one thinks of it because it hasn't been a thought as a personal level
Hmm.
as big as like for corporate companies.
Right.
Companies.
But even the smaller companies are at risk. Even as personal, everyone is at risk when you have any type of password, any type of information that a hacker could find useful.
Right.
They
Definitely.
can find it useful if they can do something with it, whether it's money, whether it's blackmail, whatever the case may be. If it's useful to somebody out there, then it is worth encrypting.
Yeah.
It is worth safekeeping. It is worth putting it in some secret vault per se,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and just making sure wherever it is, only you are the gatekeeper. It has to be a need to know basis. If they
Basis. Yep.
don't need to
No.
know, they
Yeah.
don't need
Give
to
them
know.
out.
Need to give it out. No, that's
That's
it.
it.
That's it
That's
right
it.
there. I
The
need to
all
know
of these
this.
exactly. All of these levels are to protect you as an individual, protect your assets, protect your information because we as bad as this sounds, we know how some people are doing it these days. By that I mean they're not.
Hmm.
So we're responsible for doing it for ourselves by taking these little measures that go a long way.
Yes. So people,
So,
please protect
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, for real. Please, please, please. Let me go change all my passwords.
No, it's something worth.
Password
It's
1.
definitely something worth doing
It
and
is.
taking a look at and just kind
It
of
is.
going back and looking at what you set up. Because
Yeah,
I started
passwords.
doing that one time. I started looking at a couple of them and I was like, oh, this is terrible. And I found like
Mhm.
from three different sites I had the same one, and I was like, I said, okay, I got to change
Mhm.
this right away. I'm like, this is
Hmm.
bad. I'm like, how did you do
Mhm.
this? Like, this is bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
that's
yeah,
the other thing. There are password storage apps now. So
yes,
you can
Yeah.
literally have it on your phone, you can have it on
yeah,
your desktop, you can have it on your browsers where it will protect your passwords. It's a third party that does all the work for you. It saves the information so you don't have to
Right.
remember it. And it'll tell you, it'll give you a score. How safe are your
Your
passwords?
passwords.
yes,
If
Yes.
you're reusing passwords, it will tell you, hey, look at this password here. It's the same as this password over
over
here.
here. Yep.
Change it.
Change it.
Change it. And when you put in a new account, it will recommend a strong password to you that you don't have to remember because it'll do all the work for you.
I know people often ask, like, should I use those authenticators to create the password? Yes, you could, but what if you're not going to lose it? Know why? Because it's stored under biometrics. So you have to authenticate just to get in to see the password. And
Mm-hmm.
then, well, what if I lose my phone? Okay. So who couldn't open up your phone? Only you, right? Because you know the password, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if somebody else I said, no, if you lose your password, can I just pick up can I just pick up your phone and open it? Well, no, you have to know my password. Okay. So that's the first thing. And then to get into that password that has all the passwords stored, that authenticator, how do I get into that? Is another security
Another
measure, right?
password or
So either your
biometrics. Yep.
face
Yep.
or
Fingerprint.
passwords or
Fingerprint.
fingerprint. So
Yep.
there's multiple layers. And even once you find the one that you want, it tests you again. So,
Mm-hmm.
so, so, yeah, you
Yeah.
use them, people, use them.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of them are free. A lot of them
Yes,
are free. And the biggest thing I'll say about these authenticator apps, make sure you save them and you back them up. We just had an
Yeah,
email about this at work. If you're changing phones, especially with the holiday season,
Mm.
if you're changing phones, you're going to want that authenticator app
back up,
backed up so
back
it'll
it up.
come onto the new one. So
Yes,
back everything up before you switch your phones over.
yes, yes,
Key. It's key right now. Because right now, this little thing, we live off of this.
yes, exactly.
Ooh,
We
yep.
live off
And
of it.
Everything is
We
on that.
we eat, breathe, and shit.
yeah, yeah,
What? So
yeah.
Everything.
No, as
everything.
crazy as it sounds, no, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
It's become our it's replaced the wallet.
Yes,
It's replaced
it
the
has
purse.
everything.
Everything is there. Everything is
Mhm.
there. And no, we kind of live by it. We store all our stuff on there.
Mhm.
I know some states you can store your driver's license on it. Not every state, accepts
Yep.
it, but some states, yeah.
And your insurance
Right.
card.
Insurance card, yep.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
it's replacing all the hard, physical, tangible things that we used to use to
Mhm.
become digital. It's digitizing everything, our whole way
Everything.
of life. I know some people are just like, well, I don't like it. I get it. I get it. Change is hard. Change is hard. But you have to don't be afraid of technology. I often tell
Mhm.
people, don't be afraid. When you stop being afraid, you start to dive in a little deeper to something as zero trust. And
Mhm.
you start to research and start to understand why this is important or why I should be doing that or why I should be making stronger passwords. Um, when you're no longer afraid and you start to become a part of it and indulging in it and learning in it, you actually find that it could be really fascinating.
Mhm.
If anything that we can do here in this space to help people who are following us and watching these videos is encourage you to not be afraid of technology and start diving into it.
Mhm. Just be safe with it. It's not a scary thing. It's just a place where you have to play it safe. And we're that's why we're here. We're trying to make sure that you have all the pointers needed to evolve with the evolving technology today. Because the only way up is is to work with it. As we keep saying, don't go against the grain, just flow with the wave.
Hmm.
And this wave of technology is going to continue to adapt and change and increase. And we can't go against that. We have to
No,
accept it, but know that there are ways to protect yourself, to protect your information. And these are the little tidbits that we're here to give you of how to go about to do that.
yeah,
Take three on is this all we're
this is it. Yeah,
Okay. We really appreciate all our viewers out there.
yes.
It's really great to see all the likes coming in and the views. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below or up above wherever you're seeing it. And thank you for watching. Yeah.
Thank you. See you in 2025.
Thanks for the support.
Yeah, 2025. Wait, is it gonna be 2025 on Monday? No, it's not. Not
No,
yet.
not yet,
Not yet.
but
Not
soon.
yet. Not yet. Soon,
Soon,
soon.
soon.
We're right at the cusp. But this is BawseCrew signing out.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.